Chapter 34 War Part 3. King Eadric was vicious when he fights. He ripped wolves after wolves' throat out like they were made out of paper rather than bones and muscles. He didn't leave his allies' vampires out of it, too. He snapped their heads, ending their lives if they block his way to where Prince, now King Zakai was. King Eadric currently have one motive. He wanted to kill his son and take back his throne. King Eadric growled,
Zakai.
King Zakai, who heard it through the mind link between him and his father, turned and growled when he saw who was approaching him. He snarled at his father when he was close enough, and they circled each other.
Why do you do this? No matter how well you had planned this, you'll still lose.
King Eadric growled.
You know nothing, child. Give me back my throne or else.
King Zakai growled back.
You have nothing against me anymore. I relocated Mother and Sabrina somewhere else when you were gone. Somewhere safe and out of your reach. Moving them doesn't mean they will be safe. I will find them and I will rip them apart in front of you.
King Zakai whimpered.
You've gone mad.
King Eadric snarled and charged at King Zakai. Adriana is getting low on energy. She has been sending waves after waves of strong winds that she's almost drained. She had been putting extra energy into the wind to make it stronger, harder, so that it'll be enough to cut the enemies. It's because of this that Adriana is drained more than usual. And it's because of this that she didn't see the enemy wolf creeping up behind her. When Joseph, who was close by, shouted her name, the wolf pounced.
Adriana.
She turned around and saw the wolf mid-pounced. She stretched out her hand, but to her horror, there was nothing. She had hit the bottom of her energy. Then there was a growl, and the wolf was pounced on, and he and the new one fell and rolled on the ground. The new wolf was quick to win dominance and ripped the enemy wolf's throat out. The wolf looked up, and when Adriana saw the marking on the wolf's cheek, and smiled. Thanks, Ramona. The wolf whined and joined the fight again.
Adriana, you okay?
Joseph asked as he ran towards her. Adriana smiled and nodded. I'm fine, for now. I had ran out of my abilities. I have not much energy left to call the winds again. Joseph frowned.
Are you okay? Do I need to send you to the infirmary?
Adriana shook her head, but someone spoke up behind her.
Get to the infirmary and watch over Alistair. I'll take care of this.
Adriana turned and found the owner of the voice, who was Lysiani. But I can still fight. I just don't have to use my...
No, Adriana. You don't even have the energy to fight physically.
Adriana looked at her feet with gritted teeth and hands. Lysiani, who had caught onto her mood, reached out and patted her head.
It's fine. You just need rest. You can come fight again after you've rested a bit, but for the meantime, rest and look after Alistair. When he wakes up, tell him everything."
Adriana was silent for a while before she sighed. "Okay," she said with a nod. Lysiane looked at Joseph and nodded. Joseph nodded back, and with a wave of his hand, Adriana was teleported away. When Adriana's gone, Joseph looked up at the sky worryingly. Lysiane looked at him bemused.
"What's wrong?" "I'm just thinking about Ryu. Being constantly in his dragon form must be exhausting."
Lysiane smiled.
Let me tell you a secret. Ryu being in his dragon form doesn't exhaust him. It's like you wolves in your wolf form. It doesn't drain your energy because it's part of you.
Joseph nodded with understanding. Lysiane smiled and patted his back.
Let's get back to the fight, shall we?
Joseph looked up at him and smiled.
There's too many of them. We don't have enough manpower to fight them off.
Sebastian shouted through his fight with the malfunction hybrid. Bethany grunted as she stabbed one through its eyes. "We need to stop Anelia from sending more."
We need to take her down,
Sebastian yelled. Bethany was about to yell something back when she heard a scream. Both of them turned and saw Anelia in a deadlock created by King Zakai.
Stop this, father, or she dies.
Anelia growled, but King Zakai tightened his grip, making her whimpered.
Let her go, Zakai.
King Eadric growled.
Let us go first. Stop this. Stop all of this. Then I'll let her go.
King Zakai threatened.
Zakai, stop the war. I will not. Not for a measly girl like her.
Anelia stopped struggling when she heard that. She whispered, "What?"
You can kill her if you like. I have what I need, and I don't need her anymore.
Anelia's face slackened and she whispered brokenly, "What? Father?" King Eadric growled as he looked into Anelia's eyes.
I don't need you. I have what I need here. You're useless to me.
He then pulled out a vial filled with red liquid. Anelia slackened completely in Prince Zakai's hold and stared at her father. Hearing those words coming out of the man she respected, the only man that wanted her when others didn't want to. To hear that he was only using him to get what he's want make all of Anelia's resolve to stay alive went out of the window. Anelia couldn't accept that. Pulled out King Zakai's sword and stabbed herself with it. They all looked in horror as Anelia dropped down to her knees, blood flowing from the wound and from her mouth. All it takes was a few lines from the person she loved and respected to make her commit suicide without a second thought. King Zakai watched as the light in Anelia's eyes disappeared and she went limp. On the other hand, King Eadric laughed.
How did I manage to live together with her for so long? Pathetic.
King Eadric sneered at Anelia's body. He pulled out the cork of the vial and chugged down the substance. Down in the battlefield, people were being released from Anelia's power. Some looked confused, but some fight. But the problem was the malfunction hybrids. Without anyone controlling them, they went berserk, killing anyone in their way, allies or no. After King Eadric drank from the vial, he shifted and fell to the ground. He started howling in pain, choking, and King Zakai, who was the closest, watched in horror as he saw his father started changing before his eyes. King Eadric started growing larger and his muscles grew more defined. When the transformation was finished, he stood and he towered over him by 2 feet.
Shit.
King Zakai jumped away in time as King Eadric slashed at him. King Eadric roared as he grabbed a large rock and threw it at King Zakai. King Zakai dodged and jumped off the small hill and ran to Bethany.
This is bad. Father just drank something. Now he's stronger, bigger, and way uglier.
King Zakai said urgently with a hint of disgust. They looked over and saw King Eadric throwing all the fighters in the war away like rag dolls, while cackling like a madman. King Eadric turned back to Bethany with hopeful and fearful eyes.
Please tell me you have backup. We cannot defeat him and the malfunction hybrids alone. We need help.
Bethany, without hesitation, nodded. She pulled the pendant from her jacket and whispered into it. Nova.